Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJ Tripp, and welcome to the Game According to Me. In this episode, we're going to talk about what went down on Week 15 of the NFL season, talk about the Pro Bowl selections, and talk a little bit about WWE tables, ladders, and chairs. Oh my. But let's get started with, obviously, the National Football League and what went down this past week. Uh, there were some interesting things that happened. Um, I think one of the biggest ones is the Dallas Cowboys coming off of a 3-game losing streak. They beat the Rams big time, 44-21, keeping their spot as a chance for the NFC championship in their spot. Now, the Eagles had trouble with the Redskins, but overall they did beat them 37-27. But what it looks like, it comes down to this week. As this week it is the Dallas Cowboys against the Philadelphia Eagles. The team that wins this game will more than likely go on to to be the NFC East champion, and the other one will have no shot at making the playoffs because all the other teams for the wild card are very a lot better, a lot better. What we also saw was we saw the Chicago Bears finally get eliminated. They get beat by the Green Bay Packers 21-13 um on a last second something or another. Well, no, they got beat with the they were trying to make a last second play, and they were doing the whole hook and ladder thing, and unfortunately the tight end Jasper Horsted did not see Allen Robinson at the end, so they came up short with that. The 49ers surprisingly lost to the Atlanta Falcons. Now that was a last second victory. Falcons beat the Niners 29-22, leaving with the Seahawks beating the Panthers. Seahawks are now back in the number 1 spot, and 49ers are now in the spot of number 5. And of course, last night, not last night, but 2 nights ago, Monday Night Football, the New Orleans Saints destroyed the Indianapolis Colts 34-7, making the Colts' chances at a NFC championship, an AFC playoff spot a little bit harder to get. And also during that game, we had Drew Brees, who had one of the incredible stat lines of all time: 29 of 30 for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. And his passer rating was still not perfect. He still did not have a perfect passer rating, which kind of shows you people get upset about the QBR rating that was came up with a few years ago by ESPN. The passer rating is not better because how do you not get, they were saying that even if he was 30 of 30, he would not have had a perfect passer rating. He needed to have like 70 more yards or so. So it's you can get into a whole bunch of stuff with that, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, I think we had an interesting week of games as we coming up to week 16. We definitely have some more games that are without question putting playoff spots and things on the line. We've got the Bills and the Patriots. If the Bills can beat the Patriots, and they win out, they have a shot at winning the AFC East. The first time a team other than New England would win the NFC East since the year 2000. That's, as you guys know, that's a long time ago. Long time ago. So that should be good. We got the Rams and the 49ers. The Rams are hoping that the Cardinals or the Seahawks, I should say, maybe you don't hope the Cardinals can beat the Seahawks. Maybe you hope the Seahawks falter down the stretch. They do have the game against Week 17 against the 49ers. So there is that, and that could be for the championship of the NFC West. But I think the 49ers, first they have to beat the Rams. Have to beat the Rams on Saturday night. and then they have to hope for the Cardinals to beat the Seahawks, but I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. So I just think they just need to do what they need to do, beat the Rams, and then wait for that Sunday game. Which that game should be flexed into the primetime game. That should be the primetime game for Week 17, the 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. So. That's gonna be a game for a lot of things. Another game there's gonna be a lot. If we talked about it, the Cowboys and the Eagles, that game is more than likely going to be the determination factor for who wins the NFC East, because in Week 17 the Cowboys have the Redskins at home and the Eagles have the Giants at home. So unless something strange happens, you would think that both teams would win both of those games. So this should for much now determine who is going to be, the winner of the NFC East. So we need to, that's going to be a very interesting turn of events, I should say. And then the Monday night game, the Packers and the Vikings. The Vikings still have a chance to win the NFC North from the Packers, and they are also the 6th seed. Behind them are the Rams. So the Rams would somehow beat the 49ers, and the Vikings would lose to the Packers. I think the Rams would, they would have a shot at that 6th seed coming in Week 17. So the Vikings, they need to keep pace with the Rams, and they gotta hope that the 49ers beat the Rams. And then they have to, and if the Vikings want to win the NFC North, they have to beat the Packers and then hope the Lions beat the Packers in Week 17. And of course, the Packers, obviously, with them being in first place in the North, they want to continue that. They want to get that home playoff game, and they also want to hope that Seattle, San Francisco, and New Orleans hope they all lose so that maybe they can jump up into that 1 seed. They continue to help one of those 3 teams loses. Once I think they have to hope. Yeah, they have to hope that Seattle and 49ers both lose once, so that then the Saints could lose once, and then they can jump up ahead of the Saints. Although I think they're already ahead of the Saints. Actually, I think the Saints are still in the 3rd spot in the playoffs thing. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting week of football coming up. So I can't wait for it to go down and see what happens, and who gets eliminated, who comes out. There's still some other good stories like the Titans. Can they beat the Saints? And then they have to hope the Steelers lose to the Jets. Who knows if that's going to happen? And there's some I don't think I think that's really the only one. I think, well, like I said, the Colts are still slightly in it. I think they actually may not be in it because after the loss they may have been truly eliminated from the playoffs. So, and speaking of the playoffs, let's talk about this. Um, Vic Fangio came out earlier this week and talked about, or he came out late last week, one of the two, and he talked about the playoffs and how it's, and how the way it is that he doesn't think that there should be like divisions or anything like that. It should just be a conference of 16 teams, and then what you would do is that you would play each team in your conference one time, 15, and then the 16th game would be playing a team from the other conference, your natural, a natural type of rival. The Jets and the Giants, the Chargers and the Rams, now both in LA. Texans, Cowboys, things like that. Um, there's not a lot of other things like, and there's the 3 teams in Florida. So would you rotate Tampa Bay, Miami, and Jacksonville or something like that, each one, or would you maybe like Atlanta and then Jacksonville since they're like the two closest, and then Tampa Bay and Miami? I don't know. A lot of people decided they think that's not a a quantifiable effect. to help out, because really what it is that you've got and what it boils down to is boils down back to the NFC, where you're probably going to have a team with 11 or 12 wins not play at home in the playoffs because of the NFC East. Whoever wins the NFC East is going to have more than likely 8 wins, maybe even 9 wins, because both are 7-7, the Cowboys and the Eagles. So, but see, here's my thing about that. Something like that happens rarely. Rarely, where you have a team with like 11 wins, 12 wins, facing off against a team is a division winner, that is, single digit wins. That happens few and far between, and especially happens with the team with a losing record. I think that's only happened twice. The Carolina Panthers and the Seattle Seahawks, I think, both had losing records. But that's, see, for me, and I think I've told you guys this before in a past podcast, what I'd like to see is just them expand, go to 36, and then do it that way, and then do it that, and then face the face the teams in your division, the 5 teams in your division, once at home, once on away. That's 10, and then you would play a division from the other conference with three games at home, 3 games on the road. That's your 16 games. You know, and then there's also, there's always been talked about expanding the playoffs, 1 team each conference, so where the number 1 team would be the only team to have a bye, and then you would have the other teams face off, and I'm for that. I'm for that. I think it'd be good because you would have, you know, games on more. Yeah, you would have more games during the week, during Wild Card Weekend. You would have 6 games. You'd have 3 on Saturday and 3 on Sunday. So I'd be all for it, other than the 2 that we get already now. So I would be all for it. But I think Vic Fangio. I think Vic was trying. I think appreciate Vic for coming up with a thought. Some people just they just say, well, it's not fair, but then they don't have any way to fix it. So he tried to come up with a way to fix it. I just don't think that's the right way to fix it. Also, let's talk about what also went down last night with the Pro Bowl selections. The 2020 NFL Pro Bowl rosters were announced. So I think what was big thing was that the Ravens had 12 selections to for the 2020 Pro Bowl. The New Orleans Saints had 7, and the Kansas City Chiefs had 6. Another big thing was, for the first time since 2008, when Tom Brady got injured, he was not selected to the Pro Bowl. The quarterbacks were Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, and Patrick Mahomes. So that's pretty interesting. So I think this is going to be a very both the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had. Okay, yeah, this is what I was looking for. I was bullshitting until I can find the thing. I'm looking for the entire rosters here. So I was kind of bullshitting around. I apologize for that. And okay, come on, man. Okay, so then let's take a look at the rosters. We talked about the quarterbacks. The running backs are Nick Chubb from Cleveland, Derrick Henry from Tennessee, Mark Ingram from Baltimore. The wide receivers are Keenan Allen from the Chargers, Tyreek Hill from the Kansas City, DeAndre Hopkins from Houston, and Jarvis Landry from Cleveland. The fullback is Patrick Ricard from Baltimore. He plays both ways for the Baltimore Ravens. He plays fullback. He also plays a little defensive end and defensive line. The tight end, another Baltimore, Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce. There's so many interesting Marquise Pouncey, he was selected as a Pro Bowler for the Citizens, and we know Marquise Pouncey he was part of the whole Myles Garrett situation. Garrett was obviously not selected. It was just the defensive line was the defensive end. Since it was Joey Bosa, Calais Campbell, and Frank Clark, while the interior linemen were Geno Atkins, Cameron Hayward, and Chris Jones. So, um, wow, just some very big stuff here. Very big stuff. Um, in the NFC, the quarterbacks were Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Russell Wilson. The running backs were Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott, and Christian McCaffrey. Of course, it should be Christian McCaffrey. The wide receivers, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, both from Tampa Bay. Julio Jones from Atlanta, and Michael Thomas, from the Saints. Tight ends, Zach Ertz and George Kittle. We had a lot of other things. Both Nick Bosa from San Francisco made it, so both the Bosa kids are in the Pro Bowl. Now these rosters are not going to change because as some of these teams move on, they are going to some of these teams are going to go to the playoffs and then some go to the Super Bowl. So if Baltimore goes to the Super Bowl, they're going to have to replace their 12 players with other players, and like with other teams as well. Um, it was I think being a Chicago guy, and a Chicago Bears fan, Khalil Mack, Eddie Jackson, and Cordero Patterson making it. It's kind of interesting. Khalil Mack has not had the year that he had last year, so I think that's probably that's either name recognition or that is that is like a bad year for the outside linebackers in the NFC. And I think the same goes for Eddie Jackson too. Eddie Jackson hasn't had the year that he had last year, so again, it's either name recognition or it's a bad year for the free safeties in the NFC. And Cordero Patterson went as a special teamer. And I think he has played really good on special teams this year, not only returning the ball but kick coverage and everything like that. So I have no problem with him um, making the team that way. So we'll see. The Pro Bowl is always something interesting. I think the biggest thing that's going to come from the Pro Bowl this year is the fact that Michael Vick is going to be one of the players, special coaches for one of the teams. So, and there's a lot of backlash because of what he did in his past with the dog fighting and renting the gambling ring and things like that. But I think he has done. I think he has shown much more. I think he has shown a lot to prove that he has tried to make up for what he did in his past. That was about that's been about maybe like 13 years. And that 12, 13 years, he's kept his nose clean. So I don't see any reason why we need to be. If you're still hating on Michael Vick, you need to get a life. You really do. You need to get a life. Michael Vick has moved on. He's shown that he's a productive member of society, and and he's apologized for the things he's done in his past. So get a life. Stop trying to and Michael Vick. I think Michael Vick was really the first part of cancel culture. This is when I think Michael Vick. I think that's when cancel culture actually maybe even started, where you just didn't want to give him a second chance. And always the thing that always got me was that people were just so set on not having Michael Vick play in the NFL. But they wanted Dante Stallworth to play in the NFL, even though Dante Stallworth killed a person. He killed a person. He drove drunk, vehicular manslaughter. He killed a person. But it was okay for him to play in the league, but not Michael Vick. Fuck out of here. So, anyway, that's it for the That was my little soliloquy there. But that's it for the NFL and then the whole Pro Bowl thing. And let's wrap this up with WWE Tables, Ladders, and Chairs happened this past Sunday. Um, it's an okay pay per view. We started off. We had some, the three great matches to start off the night. The Humberto Carrillo Andrade match on the kickoff show was excellent. So was the SmackDown Tag Team Ladder match. That was really nice. And then Black and Murphy had an excellent match as well. And then it kind of dropped off. I mean, there was the Raw Tag Team match was okay. I think that was more about doing the KFC plug. The Roman Reigns Baron Corbin match was that was okay. The Bray and Miz one that was a strange match, but I and it wasn't that good, but it was more about the story. That was more about the story and an angle, and I enjoyed that part of it. Um, Rusev and Lashley was an okay match, the tables match, and then the WWE Women's Tables, Ladders, and Chairs match to end the night. That one has the most controversy out of it because at some point, Kairi Sane, we don't know where. A lot of people think that it might have been when Charlotte Flair did her T-bone suplex, and Kairi kind of came down hard on the near the barricade /4. She may have hit her head. And that's where Kairi Sane may have got a concussion because seemingly ever since after that she wasn't in her right mind. She even at one point she put Charlotte and Becky on a table and she tried to put them through it, and I think she slipped so she doesn't jump correctly or whatever, and the table doesn't break, and she like falls and everything like that. And so, and I think that's when Becky finds out that there's something not wrong. There's something wrong with Kairi Sane. I don't think Charlotte knows it because Charlotte goes for a spear. She slaps her in the face, and then she tries to powerbomb her through the table. So I don't think she knows at that point in time what exactly has happened. I'm going to give Charlotte Flair the benefit of the doubt, but I think at some point she does find out. Becky tells her. So then they stay away. She stays away. She goes with Asuka. Becky goes, and then she kind of protects Kairi Sane. She's giving her very soft chair shots, and then she tells Kyrie that she takes Kyrie to and lets Kyrie like beat on her while they come up with something else. And apparently they may have even changed the finish of the match somehow where I don't know what the finish was, but there might have been something where they changed the match so that Asuka had to do it herself, and they came up with a nice way to do it with the rope and everything, pulling the rope off of the Becky's climbing the ladder. They had tied her to a ladder with a rope, and they had tied the rope on the ladder. So and who knows? Maybe that was actually still the finish. Maybe that was actually still the finish. You know. So there could have been so and then that could have been finished, but they just decided it was supposed to be, but maybe it was going to be like Charlotte, both Charlotte and Becky, and then Asuka and Kairi Sane both would put, but so who knows? But anyway, the biggest thing is that Kabuki Warriors won, they retained their titles, and Kairi Sane has been diagnosed. She was diagnosed with a concussion. So we'll see what goes on with them. And see how that happens. I don't blame Charlotte Flair for anything. I don't for hurting her because things happen in the ring. Like I said this one time before. I think I said this on Twitter. Everybody wants to play the blame game. Like it wasn't Bree's fault that she can cuss Liv Morgan in that match a year, almost a little bit over a year ago. They were setting up for Evolution or one of the Saudi or one of the Super Showdowns or something like that in Australia. There wasn't, they wasn't. That wasn't Bree's fault. It was an accident. And same thing here. If Kyrie got concussed from that T-bone suplex from Charlotte, that's not Charlotte's fault. People should not blame Charlotte for that. So that would just be on my end. So, but yeah. I enjoyed it, and had fun with it. You can go to my YouTube channel, AJ Trip, to check out my rapid reaction, my thoughts of right after the show came on. I gotta try and find another way to I'm probably gonna try one more time in January for the Royal Rumble, But if I can't, if I can't like do it right, then I don't know what I'm gonna do. So, um, because when I've been live streaming it, it hasn't. Only parts of it seem to have shown up. I've done a couple live streams since I've come down to Charlotte, and and actually there was even one when I was back in Chicago. There was the Crown Jewel one. That one seemed to have kind of like screwed up. So, but I do like backup record it so I can always put it right back up. I didn't seem to have any problem with my Crisis rapid reaction to the Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff from the TV show with on the CW, but there doesn't seem to be anything right now. So I seem to kind of having trouble. So I'm gonna try one more time for the Royal Rumble actually, and then and I'll see if there's any problems with that. If there is any problems with that, then I'm gonna have to try to change the way I do the live streams. I'll either change the way I do the live streams, or I won't do the live streams at all, and I'll just have to do the and I'll just do and it won't be a rapid reaction because in the past I did record rapid reactions and they weren't rapid reactions. I would record it and then they would come out 2 hours after the show. It's not a rapid reaction, so we'll have to see what everything happens with that. Alright, y'all, that is going to be it for tonight's show. For tonight's show, tonight's show, whatever you listen to it today or tonight, this afternoon show. Programming note, obviously the holidays are coming up, so there will be no podcasts coming up over the next couple of weeks. The next podcast will either be the week of January 6th. I think that would be January 8th or January 15th. It all depends on certain things that are happening. Make sure again to go over to my YouTube channel, AJ Trip, to find out some more information about the stuff that is going on. I'm going to give more information there about what's going on with my life and things like that, and some other programming notes from on the channel, and then on the and even with the podcast as well, and with the video gaming and everything like that. So make sure you go over to AJ Trip and you check that out. If you want to support me in my podcasting ventures, you can make sure you can go to anchor.fm, find Andre Triplet, and then there are 3 ways you can support me. You can support me by 99 cents a month, $4.99 a month, and $9.99 a month. If you choose to support me, that is so awesome. I appreciate it so much. It doesn't matter which one you choose. Just the support is good enough. So again, thank you guys so much for doing that. So yeah, I want everybody out there to have a fun Merry Christmas. Have a safe and wonderful Happy New Year. And I will see you guys in 2020. Or I won't see you guys. You know, it's a thing of expression. Alright guys, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much. We have a transition this year. I transitioned from Spreaker over to Anchor FM. So I want to thank you guys who followed me over in the transition. Thank you guys so much for listening throughout this year. Appreciate it. Hope you guys come with me in 2020. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.